Well, I think that's a bit much to say that after one game. But I know as a player, and Brandon knows this too, you look for signature wins throughout a season that helps build confidence. And they went against a very good Denver team that's out west, and to come back from 21 to win. I think more importantly in that game, if you really look at it, I think Blake Griffin being efficient offensively should have been the shining thing. You know, Blake Griffin goes 8 for 10, makes 4 threes, plays well for them. I think that's one thing you can take out of that game. Coming back with 21, though, and a season where you're not playing very well, in the stretch where you're not playing, they obviously had a great season. In the stretch you're not playing well, they're 5-5 in their last 10. So I think that's what Kevin's looking at after losing a couple games. And then they lost to Milwaukee twice. So teams that are quality, so anytime you get a quality win against a good team, you try to look at and build on that as they go into the playoffs. But I wouldn't take it as that's the Brooklyn Nets team.
Yeah.
Obviously, offensively, we saw flashes of how they can be. It was a very efficient offensive game for them, and that's something that we've seen consistently throughout the season. I think that for them to get stops and to be able to come back from 21, well, maybe they're kind of holding their hat on that. But KD right now, especially without James Harden, you're just looking for anything and any type of momentum to carry you into the playoffs. So this was a good start, beating a good Denver team on the road.
All right, so I've got good news and bad news for Nets fans. The good news and what should bring you joy is this game. I was in Vegas this weekend, and this game brought me immense pain and close to financial ruin. I had a beautiful bet of the Warriors minus 15.5, the over in this game, and Denver on the money line, all parlayed together in a beautiful bet. And at halftime of the games, it looked beautiful, Wilds. The Warriors are up 1,000 on OKC. This game's firing to the over, and the Nuggets are in firm control. And the Nuggets then blew it, and that sent me on a tilt-a-whirl for the next 6 hours in Las Vegas through the blackjack pits and the craps tables, and it was just disaster. So Nets fans, I'm sure you should be happy your team brought me pain. But here's why it's actually bad news, Wilds. The Nets don't need more confidence. They need less. And another story from Vegas this weekend that I think is very apropos. I was there for my sister-in-law's birthday with my wife, my sister-in-law, and a bunch of their friends. And someone who will remain nameless the whole weekend, or the very beginning of the trip, I should say, was talking about how she got to the airport at the perfect time. She got there like as the doors were closing and got on the plane. And she was kind of like lecturing us, like, you guys all get to the airport too early. I got a system. This always works. And Wilds, guess what happened on her flight back from Vegas? Just take a wild guess. You don't know her, but just give it a guess. She missed her flight because she got a little too comfortable, a little too confident. And the Nets thinking, oh, we're fine. We've lost 4 in a row, and we're down 20 at halftime, and the Nuggets are on pace to score 150. And look, we won. That is going to bite them. You know what would have been good for them? Getting blown out in this game for their 5th straight loss and a real. One. All right, What? Tell me I'm wrong. Tell me I'm wrong.
Because that's what Steve. No, because that's what Steve Nash has been saying. Steve Nash loses games. He's like, we can learn from this. This is good for us. It's good to go through the fire and we come out stronger and steel forges steel. So now you're buying this, that you want them to get blown out because it's like optimistically it will prove their mettle?
I think the best option. I think their best option would be play a good game from start to finish. Actually play defense for the first half of the game. Do good things. Look complete.
Yeah.
But I do not think, Antoine, it's good for them to have this sense of, we only need to put together 12 minutes of great basketball and we'll be fine. Because that will not work in the second round against Milwaukee. And if they get there, it will not work in the third round against Philly. And so I do think there is an air of overconfidence that has hung over this team all year, and I think this game against Denver just reinforces it.
Well, I think they're going to always be very confident because of their offensive ability. They obviously got 3 unique offensive players that can do anything on the offensive end. So their confidence level is going to be real high. What makes the Nets really, really tough is that you may have to get to 120 4 games to beat them. It's not a lot of teams that can do that. Obviously, they're not very good defensively. You got some weak links on the defensive side. They're going to have some type of defensive scheme. I do worry that they don't play a lot at the center spot. When you look at Nicholas Claxton and DeAndre Jordan, he played 14 minutes, Claxton did, and then DeAndre Jordan plays 5 minutes. You're playing really small, and you're banking on Blake Griffin to give you big minutes in the middle. So that's where they're very vulnerable at, when maybe they may play a Philly. You open up the lane for a Giannis. So that's their problem right there. But offensively, they're so skilled and elite. I think that's where their confidence level is at, Nick. That's why they think they can beat anybody. And they should. I'm not saying that, but that's where they really, really believe that they separate themselves from everybody. But when you get in the playoffs and it gets tighter, you got to get consistent stops. We'll see if they're going to be able to do that, and we'll see what their rotation is. I'm excited to see who they're going to play in that 8-9-man rotation to see how they're going to do come playoff time.
Listen, NBA legend, don't worry. Don't be concerned. This team will be fine. This is what I've been waiting for. The Nets fans been waiting for all season. We know who they are. They're elite. They're explosive on offense. They're unguardable. That's what gives them the opportunity to win the championship this year. That's why they are the favorites in my mind. And then on the defensive side, they're veteran savvy. They're a veteran-savvy group that will figure it out when playoff intensity hit, and they'll be able to communicate. It's about the will to win on defense. And Nick, that's the only thing that you've been hanging your hat on this year around this conversation. Defense, defense, defense. The only reason why I said that it doesn't matter is because when you're a veteran and you see that, I have the opportunity to win a championship, you're going to do whatever it takes. Now, you know this, Nick. You know this, Wild. You walk into any YMCA around the country. You walk on any court, outside, inside. Doesn't matter. Defense is about a want-to. Yeah, there's some elite defenders out there. But on the defense side, are you willing to give the effort? Are you willing to exert yourself and get the stops that you need to communicate with your team? So that's why this team is going to be right where they need to be. Did you see Kevin Durant buckle down on Joker? Like, he made Joker look like he was a shooting guard. So, yeah, this is the team that we've been wanting to see all year. Elite on offense, unguardable, and on defense, just veteran savviness.
Okay, but, that's fine. But I do not think 12 minutes of caring about defense after you've lost 4 in a row, after you're throttling towards the 3 seed when it looked all year like you were going to be the 1 seed, shows me that this team is going to have the want to play in a 7-game series. You're going to have to play 40 minutes of good defense. You can maybe have a couple minutes a quarter of lackadaisical defense. So I just don't. Listen, they were great in the 4th quarter. I would have liked the allegedly elite, unguardable, undeniable, undisputed league MVP to show up in the 4th quarter and punish a team that doesn't play a center. But that's another discussion for another day, because it's sacrilege to criticize Nikola Jokic, evidently. I would have liked to see him show up in the 4th quarter. But I just don't think this game was indicative, Brandon, that they take that side of the ball seriously.
But did you not hear what I said, though, Nick? Last week, we started off with this Nets discussion, and I said I was frustrated. And then Friday came around, and I said I was furious. Why? Because these guys in the biggest moment of the season didn't step up and act like it was the playoffs. Go back to the Bucks little mini-series. They played the Bucks 2 games in a row. And what happened? We didn't see those guys buckle down like they needed to. We didn't see those guys buckle down like they did against Denver. They were supposed to then.
Right. When
you're a veteran, you are going to understand when you need to step up and you got to do a little bit more. That's why they keep talking about playoff intensity. That's why they keep talking about the pace of the game changes when you go to the playoffs. And that's what this team did last night. To see KD guard Joker the way he did and play on both ends of the court was phenomenal. And they told me that this team had those conversations in the locker room saying, now is the time for us to buckle down, get it done. Just imagine where they're going to be when James Harden comes back.
Well, who knows? Yeah, no one knows. I'm interested in seeing it. Antoine, real quick, the next 4 games, Bulls, Spurs, Bulls, Cavs. Do you think that Steve Nash is going to be totally preparing for the playoffs here and trying to experiment with a few things now that you have these teams aren't fantastic? Like, what do you think Steve Nash's and their plan should be again with these next 4 games? Are you trying out things, or it's just like, no, let's get into playoff mode and play 100% and win these games and take momentum into the playoffs?
Well, I think Nick alluded to it. They got to decide whether they want to be a 2 seed or a 3 seed. which one they feel comfortable at, and if it may mean them having to win out and play their rosters to the full max and get to regular rotations. Yep. If not, it depends. So it's all about seeding for them and where they feel comfortable at right now. So I don't think they worry about that. I think they got to figure out where they want to be a 2